at the age of 17, I stood outside my school gate holding my final exam results in trembling hands. Students around me were celebrating, hugging friends, calling parents with joy. But my world had stopped. I had failed. Not just in one subject. I had failed badly. That evening, I locked myself inside my room. Relatives called me useless. Neighbors whispered that I would never become anything in life. My father stayed silent during dinner. My mother cried quietly in the kitchen, thinking I couldn't hear her. And the worst part, deep inside, I had started believing them. But 6 years later, the same boy who failed his exams walked onto a stage in New Delhi to receive his appointment letter as an IAS officer. This is the story of how failure became the greatest turning point of my life. My name is Arjun, and I was born in a small town where dreams were bigger than opportunities. My father drove an auto rickshaw, and my mother stitched clothes at home to support the family. We were not poor enough to beg, but not rich enough to relax. From childhood, everyone expected me to study well and change the family's future. But I was lazy. I wasted hours watching videos, roaming with friends, and sleeping late. I always believed I had time. Whenever my parents told me to study, I replied with the same sentence. I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. Slowly, my habits destroyed my confidence. My grades dropped every year, but I ignored the warning signs. I became addicted to comfort. Then came the final board exams. I still remember sitting in the exam hall, staring at the question paper like it was written in another language. My mind went blank. For the first time, fear entered my heart. Weeks later, the result confirmed what I already knew. Failed. That single word crushed me. For months, I avoided everyone. Friends moved ahead in life while I stayed stuck. Social media became torture. Every success story reminded me of my own failure. One afternoon, my father returned home exhausted after driving in the summer heat. His shirt was wet with sweat, and his hands were shaking from tiredness. He sat beside me and asked softly, Arjun, how long will you run away from your life? I stayed silent. Then he said something I will never forget. Failure is not falling down. Failure is refusing to stand up again. That night, I looked at myself honestly for the first time. I realized I had been blaming luck, teachers, pressure, and circumstances. But the truth was painful. I was the problem. And that realization changed everything. The next morning, I woke up at 5 a.m. Not because I felt motivated. Because I was tired of hating myself. I began with small changes. I stopped using my phone for useless entertainment. I made a daily schedule. At first, I could study only 30 minutes without distraction. My mind kept running away. But every day, I forced myself to continue. Slowly, discipline replaced excuses. Months later, I passed my exams with decent marks. It was not extraordinary, but for me, it felt like climbing a mountain. During college, I discovered stories of IAS officers transforming villages, helping poor families, and solving real problems. Something awakened inside me. For the first time in my life, I wanted to become someone meaningful. That day, I decided I will become an IAS officer. People laughed. Some relatives openly mocked me. The boy who failed exams wants to crack UPSC. Even my friends thought I was joking. And honestly, the UPSC journey was terrifying. Thousands of brilliant students compete every year. Many study for years and still fail. But this time, I was different. Earlier, I wanted success because of ego. Now, I wanted it because I had discovered purpose. I moved to Delhi for preparation. My room was tiny, hot, and noisy. Sometimes I skipped meals to save money for books. While others enjoyed festivals and vacations, I stayed in libraries for 10 to 12 hours daily. There were nights when I cried silently from pressure. Nights when self-doubt returned. Nights when my mind whispered, "You are not intelligent enough." But every time I felt weak, I remembered my father driving his auto under the burning sun. I remembered my mother stitching clothes late at night. I remembered the pain of failure. And I kept going. My first UPSC attempt ended in failure. I missed the cutoff by a few marks. That result broke me again. For 1 week, I could not study. I felt empty. I watched others celebrate success while I questioned my entire journey. Then one evening, I visited a tea stall near my coaching center. An old man there recognized me because I studied there daily. He asked, "How was your result?" I smiled sadly. "I failed." The old man laughed gently and said, "Do you know why most people lose in life?" I shook my head. Because they stop one step before success. That sentence hit me deeply. I returned to my room and opened my books again. This time, I studied smarter. I improved my writing speed, revised current affairs daily, practiced mock interviews, and learned to control my emotions. I stopped comparing myself with others. I focused only on becoming better than yesterday. Then came my second UPSC attempt. This time, I cleared the prelims. For the first time, I felt hope. But in the mains examination, I failed again. When I saw the result, I sat silently for hours staring at the wall. It felt like life was testing how much pain one person could handle. Many people advised me to quit. Get a normal job. UPSC is not for everyone. You already wasted enough years. For a moment, even I started believing them. But deep inside, a small voice refused to die. I remembered the boy who once failed in school and still stood up again. So I made one final promise to myself. One last attempt. No excuses. No fear. No giving up. For the next year, I worked harder than ever before. I disconnected from distractions completely. While the world slept, I studied. While others doubted me, I rebuilt myself quietly. Every mock test, every failure, every weakness became part of my training. I was no longer studying just to pass an exam. I was becoming mentally stronger. Finally, The day of the final UPSC result arrived. My hands were shaking while checking the PDF list online. I searched my roll number once. Nothing. My heart sunk. Then I searched again carefully. And there it was. My roll number. My name. Selected for IAS. For a few seconds, I could not breathe. I stared at the screen with tears rolling down my face. Years of pain, sacrifice, failure, loneliness, and hard work exploded in one emotional moment. I called my father. Before I could speak, he asked nervously, "What happened?" I broke down crying. "Dad, I did it." There was silence on the phone. Then I heard him crying too. That was the first time in my life I heard my father cry with happiness. Today, when people see the uniform, the respect, and the success, they think my journey was special. But the truth is simple. I was once a failed student who wasted time, doubted himself, and almost gave up on life. The difference is that one day, I decided to change. Not overnight. Not magically. Step by step. If you are failing right now, feeling lost, behind in life, or disappointed in yourself, remember this. Your current situation is not your final identity. Failure does not decide your future. Your next decision does. Sometimes, the person who struggles the most becomes the strongest. And sometimes, the student who once failed becomes the officer who inspires millions. So stand up again. Your story is not over yet. If this story inspired you even a little, remember this. Your failures do not define you. Your decision to rise again does. Maybe today you are struggling, maybe people doubt you. Maybe you feel behind in life. But one day, your story can inspire millions too. So never give up on yourself. And if you enjoyed this motivational story, don't forget to like this video, also share this video with others, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more powerful and life-changing stories. Also, comment below. What is the dream you will never give up on? See you in the next story. Until then, keep believing in yourself.